Okay, Tim. What do you like about planting flowers and stuff? What are your interest in this?
Well, I feel that probably my interest started at a very young age because I grew up in a household with two grandmas living with us. And they were they had egg roots, and of course they helped raise my mom and my dad in the Depression. And so Victory Gardens had a big
What do you mean?
impact.
What do you mean, Victory Gardens?
People planted their whole backyard in what they called a Victory Garden. And basically that's where they got their food. Because during the Depression people were very, very poor. And they called them Victory Garden. Of course they kind of went along with World War II as well. And so your whole backyard was devoted to that garden, and that's how people ate. And even when I was a boy, I was born in 1946, so I grew up in the 40s and 50s there. They had a huge impact on our lifestyle. And
But did they make you? Did you have to work because you were forced to work, or did you like it?
I always had a deep love of nature. Why? I'm not 100% sure. I'm very science orientated, and I went to a Catholic school, and the nuns found out very early that I liked science. I did well in science, and I'm very inquisitive, and I think that the science of plants and nature all combined. We had a neighbor man that was a very active gardener, and my dad worked a lot. He had his own business, and my neighbor man kind of took me under his wing. He was very active in a garden club in Findlay, Ohio, where I grew up, and so he fixed my bikes, but he also gardened, and it got me very fascinated with gardening.
But what? That's a general statement. I like gardening. What is it about it? The digging, the planting, the flowers, the style, the beauty. What attracted you on a specific
I would
level?
say probably first was the beauty, but yet,
What do you mean by beauty? Give me
well, I think plants are, I like the fragrance of plants, I like the beauty of how plants are. I was very interested in roses, and my mother loved roses. So, and my mom and I were very close. So I joined the American Rose Society when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And I helped my mother with the rose garden. And I got so involved in roses. And then my neighbor man grew these plants called dahlias and gladiolas and cannas. These are all bulb plants. And I was very fascinated how you would grow them, and then you'd have to dig the bulbs at the end of the season to preserve them. And you had a root cellar. And that type of thing fascinated me for some reason. I don't know why. And I'm very interested in science. And I actually went to college for science.
Well, you went to college for science. What science?
Biology. I was a biology major and a chemistry minor. So I liked the aspect of growing plants and understanding, some people think that you trim plants just to trim to make them look pretty. But there's actually scientific reasons why you trim plants a certain way.
Why?
Because it makes them promote more growth. You trim off what we call the primary bud, which actually produces a seed, and it produces a hormone that doesn't let lateral buds or new flower beds develop. So there's scientific reasons why you trim a certain way. And you can form and shape plants.
Did you go right into the flower business as soon as you graduated?
Well, actually, I started working in a garden center when I was 12 years old, getting paid at 12 years old. But I actually was fascinated with plants from the time I was 6 years old or younger.
Yeah.
And I just loved plants. And our community was a city, but we were very close to the farm, and excuse me, and many members of our family had ag background. And my dad had grown up in the city as well, but he had to work in the country to make a to make a living, to help the family out in the summer months and make some extra money.
Okay, good.